passage about Odysseus, the Greek hero who came up with the plan of the wooden horse to defeat Troy, and specifically his encounter with Polyphemus, the Cyclops, the one-eyed monster on his way home. And it begins, ho polemos, the war, makros en, that means was long. So en is the third person singular imperfect tense of Amy, I am. So the war was long, but Allah, metadeka eniautus, that means after 10 years, the Greeks, hoi akaioi, took Troy, or captured Troy. Elabon ten Troyan. So Elabon is the strong aorist from Lambano. And then we have metade ton polemon, and after the war. And then remember, te means te and kai means both, and then and. So both. So after the war, both Odysseus and Hoihetairoi, his companions, pollas hemeras, for many days. So remember, accusative with a time phrase means for this amount of time. So for many days, they were sailing, epleon, imperfect of pleo, I sail, they were sailing in their boats, en tois ploiois, right? Because this is en plus dative, and then this is the dative plural of ploion. Then here we have de, which means and or but, and then again en plus dative, en ter hodo, but on the journey, or on the way, they suffered epathon. This is the strong aorist from pasco, I suffer. They suffered kaka. Now this is the neuter plural of kakos, meaning bad. So kaka means bad things. And after epathon, you have this punctuation mark called an interpunct, which is like a full stop, but it's higher up on the page, and it's like an English colon or semicolon. So on the way, they suffered bad things. Gar, that means for, in the sense of starting an explanation. For often, polakis, they were falling, epipton, or they kept falling, imperfect tense of pipto, into dangers, eis kindunus. Okay. And then we have men here, which, remember, that tells us that we're in the first half of a contrast between two things. Okay. And the other half will be hode. So the gods, hoi theoi, often, polakis, were sending epempon, imperfect tense, were sending the dangers to Kindunus. But Odysseus, or de Odysseus, and he is Odysseus autos, which you can see in the vocabulary means himself, but Odysseus himself, poter ergagen, that means once led, ergagon is the strong aorist of ago, once led tous hetairus, his companions, eis megiston kindunon, into very great danger. Okay. En. Now, en means I was, or he, or she, or it was, but in this case, because there's no obvious subject, or rather, the obvious subject is an island, a Nessos, we would probably say there was. So there was a beautiful Calais and deserted Ereme island. There was a beautiful and deserted island. There were en trees, dendra, not just trees, but dendra kala, beautiful trees, en ter neso, on the island. Now this is a bit strange, en, because trees are plural. So you would expect the verb meaning there were trees should be plural as well. So you'd expect ersan. But in fact, you get en singular because remember in Greek, neuter plural nouns take singular verbs. So there were beautiful trees on the island. But, al, and then ut means neither. So there were beautiful trees on the island, but neither houses, oikiai, nor temples, hiera, nor humans, anthropoi, or men. And then you have anti plus genitive, so opposite the island, was en Herkora, literally this says the country, the one of the Cyclopes. So in English we would say the country of the Cyclopes, or the Cyclopes country. Okay, so we now go into the second paragraph. Odysseus, or Odysseus, because, DOT, because he wanted Erthele. Okay, this is the aorist of Ethelo, I want, and you can see there's the augment has made the first E long, because he wanted to learn, Manthanein, about the Cyclopes, periton kuklopon. Well, what did he do? He elipen, that's the main verb, he left many, polus, many, of his companions, ton heteron, genitive, on the island, enteneso. Okay. Epetade, but then, he led egage, a few, oligus, he led a few, i.e. a few of them, employo, in a boat, and kai, he pros elthen, right, that means he approached or went towards ten ton giganton koran, this is a genitive sandwich, the of the giants country, or in better English, the country of the giants. Okay, there was an antron, there was a cave, engus tes thalasses. Okay, there was a cave near the sea. Now, in fact, engus takes genitive, so this is a typo. This should say thalasses. There we go. So, there was a cave near the sea. Okay. And then we hear that the cave, to antron, was a house, oikia. The cave was a house or a home, literally of the Cyclops, of the biggest one, to kuklopos, to megistou. So in English we would say of the biggest Cyclops. Okay, the giant Hogigas had a ken pola mela, that means many sheep. And we then have another genitive sandwich. The of the giant name, that is, the giant's name, was Polyphemus, Polyphemos. Polyphemus, or Polyphemos, was an heterophthalmos, that means one-eyed. In other words, he only had one eye. Polyphemus was one-eyed. Then, heis ophthalmos, that means one eye. Kuklos megistos, that means a very big circle. And in fact, you can see that the S at the end of megistos should be that kind of S, because it's at the end of a word. So one eye, a very big circle, was N, in the middle, N meso, in the middle of his forehead, to prosopo. Literally, the Greek says in middle part the eye, in middle part the forehead, or in mid forehead. In English, we would say in the middle of his forehead. So we would use the genitive, really, in English, in the middle of, whereas Greek just has meso agree with the noun. Okay. So for that sentence, you could say, there was one eye, a very large circle, in the middle of his forehead. Okay, and we now learn that the Cyclops, or Cyclops, esthien. Okay, now esthio means I eat, and this is the imperfect tense. So the Cyclops used to eat humans, anthropus. Okay, Hot Odysseus, kai hoi hetairoi, Odysseus and his companions. Ellipon left the boat, toploion. Enter acter, that means on the shore. And went towards, kai proselthon, or approached, pros to anteron, they went towards the cave. Okay, now we go over the page. To antron, okay, to antron, that means the cave. Kenon en was empty. For gar, the Cyclops, or Cyclops, ap en was away. Was away. For gar, he was pasturing, enemen, he was pasturing, tamela, his sheep, in the fields, entois agrois. Okay. But Odysseus, hod Odysseus, and his companions, kai hoi hetairoi, ephalmasan, were amazed, were wondering, they were admiring ento anthro, in the cave. The cave, to anthron, was a thesauros turu. That means a treasure house of cheese. A thesauros, which is where we get the English word thesaurus from, of cheese. Turos in Greek is cheese. Hoimen, now remember this sets up a contrast. So the companions, hoi hetairoi, erthelon, they wanted, and then we need to look for our infinitives. They wanted to take cheese, or some cheese, turon, they wanted to take cheese, and to apotreken, to run away. That's a compound verb made up of apo plus treken. They wanted to take some cheese and run away. And now here with the debt, this is the other half of the contrast, but Odysseus wanted to find Euryskene and to get to know kai gignoskene Polyphemus ton Polyphermon. Okay. Now, meta oligas horas, after a few hours, ho Cyclops paren, the Cyclops was present, was here. Okay. Ege, he was leading Tamela, his sheep, and he was carrying Eferen, he was carrying wood, xulon. Okay, then we have a genitive sandwich. Her to antru thura, the door of the cave, was a lithos megistos, a huge stone. Okay, ho Cyclops monos, that means only the Cyclops, or the Cyclops alone, was able, hoios to n, to kulindane, only the Cyclops was able to roll the stone, ton lithon. and then in the next sentence, Herthura kleister en. The door was kleistos, which means closed or shut. Okay. Then, Cyclops pur cause. The Cyclops kindled a fire, and eide tus anthropus, and saw the men. Okay. Boe megister en. There was a very great shout. And then we go into direct speech. And this is what he says. He says, Tines este, who are you, O xenoi, strangers? Who are you, strangers? Kai pothen. And that means and from where. And then that's the end of his speech. And then we have a response here, which is Akaioi esmen, we are Greeks. Kai apotes Troias pleomen, and we are sailing from Troy. And then Apen ho Odysseus, said Odysseus. Dora ethelomen ekain, we wish to have ekain gifts, Dora. And this is because in ancient Greece there was this custom that if you had guests visit you, you would give them gifts. So he says, we want to have gifts. Hogar Zeus, for Zeus, always guards, I phulasse, strangers, xenus. That's the end of his speech. And then the Cyclops responds, moros a. Moros a. That means you are foolish, O anthrope, O man. Apen ho Cyclops, said the Cyclops. And then he continues to speak. He says, Hoigar Cyclopes, for the Cyclopes do not have, uke crucin, do not have fear, phobon, of the gods, ton theon. And that's the end of his speech. And then we have epetade, and then he took elabe, duoton hetyron, two of the companions, kai deipnon esken, and had dinner. So he eats these two companions of Odysseus for dinner. And then metato-deipnon, after dinner, he fell epesen, eis hypnon bathutaton, into very deep sleep. Odysseus ephelen, that means Odysseus wanted to apoktenein ton Polyphemus, to kill Polyphemus. Al hoianthropoi, but the men, uk hoioi tersan, that means were not able to roll kulindein ton lithon, the stone, and run away, kai feuge. Right, so they can't kill Polyphemus because they're not strong enough to move the stone. So if they kill him, they'll never get out alive. Okay, Her nux, the night, was long, makra en. Okay, now mentoi is another of these Greek words which comes second in the sentence, and it means however. So however, when it was day, epe en hemera, Polyphemus, or Polyphemos, led out ex ergage, his sheep, tamela. Kai ho Odysseus, and Odysseus, elaben, literally took or came up with a nean boulen, a new plan. Okay. Ento antro, in the cave, they found heuron, a ropalon megiston, that means a very large club, a very big club, i.e. a big stick made of wood. They oksunan, that means they sharpened to ropalon, the club, kai, elipon, and they left it entopuri, in the fire. Hoste, with the result that it was hard, en skleron. So they are basically hardening this club in the fire because they're going to drive it into his eye. But then, and then, epeita de, they waited for emenon, Polyphemus, ton Polyphermon. Okay, nux, and it was night. Hot Odysseus kai hoi hetairoi, both Odysseus and his companions were waiting, emenon, in the cave, ento antro. Ho Polyphemus, metaton melon, with his sheep, was walking towards, pros erbainen, was walking towards the cave, prosto antron. Hoianthropoi, the men, eidon ton kuklopa, they saw the Cyclops. Epe, when Paren, when he was present in the cave, ento antro, they were ready, esan hetoimoi. Ho Odysseus had the club, eiken to ropalon. And here we have a genitive sandwich. Her to anthrothura, the door of the cave, was now shut. En nun kleister. Nun meaning now, kleister meaning shut. The door of the cave was now shut. Ho Cyclops, the Cyclops. Alphys, that means again, took two, elabe duo, of the companions, ton het Tyrone, and ate them, kai ephagen. Hod Odysseus, but Odysseus, and Odysseus, ekomizde, that means he had brought, ekomizde, he brought, or he had brought, a certain very fine wine, kaliston oinon. So Odysseus brought a certain very fine wine in his boat, en to ploio. And then this is described as doron xenu tinos, a gift of a certain stranger or guest or host, something like that. Now, nun, he was carrying it, efere, en asco, in a wineskin. Kai apen, and he said, to kuklopi. So we're now going to direct speech again. And he said, oinon lambane. Now lambane is an imperative, so take some wine. Kai pine, and drink it, metatodapnon, after dinner. Gar, meaning for. We are carrying pheromen, very fine wine, kaliston oinon, in our boat, ento ploio. Therefore, ho Polyphemus took the wine, elabeton oinon, and drank it, kai epien, sorry. And then he said, epeita depe. Then he said, kalistos ho oinos. The wine is very fine. Stranger, o xene. Alphys pareke. Provide it again. Give me it again. So pareke is another imperative. And then he asks a question, ala ti esti, but what is to son onoma? What is your name? He says, for what is your name? Gar, for I wish, ethelo, to provide a gift, parakein doron. Therefore Odysseus, ho un Odysseus, again provided the wine, alphys paresce oinon, again provided wine, and said, kai ape, my name, to onoma to emon, is Utis, which means no man. Right, so he says, my name is no man, estin Utis. And then Polyphemus replies, utin un hustaton edomai. Okay, that means I shall eat edomai, no man utin last, hustaton. Apen ho Polyphemus, said Polyphemus. And tus alus proteron, the others before, or the others first. So I'll eat no man last and the others beforehand. Right? And then he says, hutos gar, for thus, or for in this way, I provide a gift, pareko doron. And then Cyclops, but the Cyclops, and the Cyclops, nun emethue, now was drunk, kai ho ophthalmos, and his eye, kleistos en, was shut. Hypnos gar, for sleep, elabeton Polyphenon, took hold of Polyphemus. Houn Odysseus, therefore Odysseus, Alphys Epheren again carried the club, Toropalon, prostopur, towards the fire. And then, Epitade, Metaton Hetiron, with his companions, he enebalen, he thrust it, the club, he thrust it, ace into, and then we have a genitive sandwich, ton tu kuklopos ophthalmon, into the eye of the Cyclops. Megiste boe en, there was a very great shout. Hoi alloi kuklopes, the other Cyclopes, edramon, they ran, prosto antron, towards the cave. And they say, ti estin, what is it? O Polypheme being the vocative case of Polyphemus. What is it, Polyphemus? Apon hoi kuklopes, asked the Cyclopes. And then they ask, ti estin hoc kindunos, right? What is the danger? In fact, I'll add a question mark in there. What is the danger? Ti estin hoc kindunos. Tis blapte se. Who is harming you? And this is the response. Utis blapte me. No man is harming me. Utis ethele apoktenein. No one wishes, ethele, to kill me, apoktenein. Apen ho Polyphemos, said Polyphemus. And then this is the reply. Kindunos un uk estin. Right? Therefore, un, there is no danger. Estin uk kindunos. Since epe utis blapte, no one is harming you. And utis ethele, no one wishes to kill you. Apoktenein se. For, gar, you have a case, noson tina, a certain disease, apoton theon, from the gods. Apon hoi kuklopes, said the Cyclopes, and they went away, kai ape bainon. But Polyphemus, hode Polyphemos, nun tuflos en, was now blind. En nun tuflos, was now blind. But still al eti, he was able, hoiostean, to roll the stone, kulindein ton lithon. And, when it was day, epe hemeraen, the Cyclops, Hokuklops, led out his sheep, ex ergageta ta mela. Okay. Hypo hekasto, that means under each one. En haste, there was one ton hetiron of the companions. Kai homegistos krios, and the largest ram was carrying Epheren Odysseus, ton Odyssea. And this is a different ending, Odyssea, because it's accusative. Was carrying Odysseus. Hutos un, in this way, therefore, they fled Ephugon out of the cave. and ran kai Edramon towards the sea, prosten thalassan. But then epeta de. They led Egagon, the sheep, ta mela, into their boat, eis ta ployon, and they led kai Egagon, the boat, ta ployon, and they elusan ta ployon, they released the boat, i.e. into the sea. But Odysseus hod Odysseus hybrise ton Polyphemus. He insulted Polyphemus. And then we go into direct speech again. Ara Ephiles, do you wish to know, gignoske? Who insulted you? Tis hybrise se. And who eklepsen, and who stole your sheep? Ta mela. Then he says, Ugar utis Amy, for I am not no man. An ego just means I am not no man. Al Odysseus, but Odysseus, ho polutropos, the man of many wiles, the man full of tricks. So he says, for I am not no man, but Odysseus of many wiles. Okay, and then here Odysseus is not speaking in the story, but he's narrating to the people listening to the original story. Hode Polyphemus, and Polyphemus, epetus emus logus ecuse, when he heard my words, threw ebalen many stones, polus lithus, for I spoke arrogantly, for I spoke arrogantly, but uk hoios to en, but he was not able to kataduen, to sink, ta emon ployon, my ship. Okay, so a couple of these words are actually given to you in the vocabulary there. So he was not able to sink my ship, or my boat. Efugon un, so therefore I fled. Meta oligon hetairon, with a few companions. Apotes tu kuklopos koras, that's a genitive sandwich, from the land, from the country of the Cyclops. Kai, that means and. Pros ten ton igon neson, and towards the island of goats, igon, we quickly went. Takeos elthomen. Okay, so Takeos elthomen. So we quickly came to the island of the goats. And then we have Ekegar. Ekegar. Okay, for in that place, hoi aloi hetairoi, the other companions were waiting. Emenon. Okay. Ta de mela ek tu ployu elabomen. So we took the sheep out of the boat. Ek tu ployu. Epetade, and then enemamen, we distributed. Takrea, okay, that means the meat. We distributed the meat. Tois nautais, to the sailors. Egode, and I, Ethusa, sacrificed. To dii, that's an irregular dative form, which means to Zeus. Right, so I sacrificed to Zeus. Ton megiston krion, the biggest ram. Zeus, however, Mentoi Zeus, uk erkuse, did not hear ten emen elken, my prayer. Hogar Poseidon, for Poseidon, then we go into brackets, Hortes thalases theos, genitive sandwich, the god of the sea. Hot to Polyphemos pater, which means, so that's another genitive sandwich, the father of Polyphemus, and another genitive sandwich, hot to Dios Adelphos, the brother of Zeus. And pater and adelphos are both given to you in the vocabulary, was periorges, very angry. And the gods, kai hoi theoi, wanted Erthelon to destroy diaphterein, our boats, ta ploia, and to kill apoktenein, the companions, tus hetairus. But Allah, we left Elipomen, the island, ten Nerson, Chirontes, rejoicing, because Dioti, we escaped Efugomen, nun, we now escaped, or we now had escaped, Ek Thanatu, from death.